Hey there, Stampers. This is Sherry Roth with StampTreasures.com, and I am happy to be here today to share with you the first in a series. So far there are three, a series about the Stamparatus. So I'm not going to go into a lot of details about the actual Stamparatus and its features and benefits and all that stuff, because I've filmed a video that I will link in the description below that has all the features and benefits of the Stamparatus. It's a wonderful tool. It's a great stamp positioning tool from Stampin' Up! And I'll kind of talk about a few little things as I go through and demonstrate the card. But really this series is just about some different things that you can do with your Stamparatus, or that makes the Stamparatus makes the techniques a little bit easier because of the Stamparatus. Okay, so first of all, this first video is showcasing, I'm not sure how well you can see that on the screen, but I'm going to show you how you can get the embossed look in any colored ink. Okay, so no need to have a variety of embossing powders. If you've got a colored ink, you can make it look embossed in that color. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, I'll set that up there for me. So first of all, the stamp set that I'm using is called You've Got This. It's in the current Stampin' Up! Catalog, which is the 2017-2018 catalog. It's a set of 2 cases, and it is retiring. So if you're watching this before the end of May 2018, then this stamp set should still be available. But if you're watching it after that, then it has retired, so it will no longer be available. Okay, so because this is a red rubber stamp, we don't need the foam mat, so I'm going to remove that, set it up here, and I'm going to stick my cardstock in here, and this cardstock measures 4 inches by 5 1/4, and I'm going to use my magnet, just stick it on there to hold it in place, and then I'm going to turn my background image upside down, position it where I want it, and then I'll close this, just apply a little bit of pressure, open it up, and I'm going to take Soft Sky ink, which is also retiring, and I'm so sad. Soft Sky and Island Indigo are the 2 colors from this big color revamp that I'm really going to miss. They are 2 of my favorite colors, especially Soft Sky. I love how soft it is. Okay, so I'm inking that up, and then I'm going to close this, and then just as you would if this was on a clear block, you're going to apply pressure all the way around, including the middle. Okay, and I'm going to peel that up. Perfect. So now I'm going to take my cloth that I used to clean it, and this is called an absorber that I just picked up at a local hardware store. If you're in Canada, it's Canadian Tire. They have it in the automotive section. And I cut it up into pieces, and I just store it in this plastic bag. And it's perfect for cleaning your stamps, but also if you get ink around the edges on your Stamparatus, it's a nice, quick way to wipe it clean. Okay, so we're done with this image. I'll put it back in the case, and then I'm going to take out the floral image. And before I position this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my heat tool to heat set this. I want to make sure this is fully dry before I go on to the next step. Okay, so I apologize if it's a little loud. So dye-based ink dries pretty quickly anyways, so you don't need to zap it for very long. You just need a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to take my stamp and I'm going to position it where I want it on here and close this. Again, apply a little bit of pressure. And now I'm going to ink it up using Sweet Sugar Plum, which is one of our current in colors. It is also retiring this year. So I'll ink that up, close it, and stamp it down, and I'm happy with that. So now I am going to clean this, and I'm going to be very careful to not move my cardstock and not move the stamp. And I probably shouldn't have worn these bracelets when I'm filming. I might have to take them off before I film the next one. They're a little noisy when they bang the table. Okay, so I've got that all nice and clean. I'm going to put away my Sugar Plum ink here. And now I am going to take my Versamark ink. I'm going to ink this up. Make sure it's really well inked. And I will just set it right back down on top. Again, applying even pressure all the way around, making sure I've got all of the spots. So now it has made my flower sticky. So what I can do is I can turn around and, actually I probably shouldn't put that on there. Let's move the Stamparatus out of the way here. Okay, so now I've got some clear embossing powder that I'm going to dump on there. And I like to use coffee filters so that I can just kind of funnel it back in. So I'm just make sure that that's all covered. And get most of it back in doing that. But you can see that I've missed some here, so I will just funnel it back in. So I have a different coffee filter for each color of embossing powder. Okay, so now you can see it's kind of powdery. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my heat tool and I'm going to heat it up, or heat set it. You can see it's kind of changing there. Okay, that looks good. So I don't know if you can see that, but you've got this nice raised surface and it looks like it's embossed in Sweet Sugar Plum. So that is how you can get your images so that they look like they're embossed in any color of ink. Okay, so now let's go ahead and finish our card. So I've got a card base here that is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4.25. My bone folder to make it nice and crisp. And I forgot to bring over my fast fuse, so we will just use snail. Let's use a lot of it. And I'm out. Okay, I apologize. I will be right back. I'm going to grab my adhesive. And I'm back. All right. Okay. So now I've covered that with adhesive. I'm just going to stick it in the center here. Yes, I really do need to put take these bracelets off. Okay, and then for my greeting, I'm going to pull my Stamparatus back in here. And let's give this a clean and move it out of the way. So I've got a piece of white that measures, I think it's about 7/8 of an inch. I don't know how long. Let's see here. 4.5. But it doesn't really matter how long it is. As long as it's wide enough to fit your greeting and long enough to fit your greeting. Okay, so now I'm going to pull in the greeting that says I'm here for you, and just going to stick that on there. Line this up on here so I think it's straight. Close that. And then what I like to do is I like to pull this out so that eyeball it straight and see if my image is straight, and I know it's not. It is very crooked. Okay, so that looks better, but I did lift it all the way up. So the other thing that I like to do when I'm working with words is I will take my old imaging sheet from my Stampamajig. If you guys have a Stampamajig, keep these because this is perfect for it. But if you don't, you can use like a window sheet that you cut down to size, or a transparency, anything that is clear plastic. So I'm going to take my black ink, ink that up, stamp it down, and just make sure that I'm happy with where it is. And you know what? That looks good to me. So let's just give this a wipe so it doesn't dry on there. And then I'll re-ink this. And perfect. It's done. Okay, so now I will clean this up, put this back in the case. And I'm going to flag the ends of this. Actually, I'm going to trim them a little bit first. Set that aside. So let's trim them about like this. And it can be however long you want. And then I'll just snip in down the center and then go in from either side, and then you end up with a relatively even flag type look. Okay, and then I'm going to add adhesive to the back just at the bottom here, and I've got a piece, got a few pieces here. Oh, let's close this ink so I don't get ink all over the place. Okay, so I've got a piece of sweet sugar plum that I've gone ahead and used a border punch on. This is using the Ticket Tear border punch. And I'm just going to, actually it's easier to do it this way. Make sure I've got a nice even border. I'm going to set it down on top. And then just trim off these little excess pieces. So it looks like that. And then I've got a piece of a doily. So this is about 1/4 of a doily. And these doilies are retiring as well. And so is this border punch. I love them both. Okay, so I've stuck the doily on the bottom, and then I'm going to use some dimensionals. And these are our little mini dimensionals. I probably don't need mini ones for this, but that's all I've got on hand with me here. Okay, so peel these off. Okay, and then I'll bring in my card, and I'm going to figure out where I want this, and I think that looks good. Set it down, and then I've tied a bow using some black and white baker's twine. And just put a mini glue dot on there, and I did have a paper piercing tool, but I don't see it here. So then I will just stick that on there like that. And it's done. It's beautiful, and it's so simple. I love that now with very little effort I can get the embossed look with any of my stamping inks. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. And if you're not already a subscriber, be sure to give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can be notified when I upload more videos. All right, I'll see you next week with another Stamparatus video. Take care.